Hello, and welcome back to Let's Chat with Jen and Angie. I'm Angie.
And I'm Jen.
And together we are Heart and Home Legacy Group with Edina Realty. Welcome to 2026.
Oh, I know. Happy New Year.
For our first episode of 2026.
Yeah, we're going to give you real life stories. Angie has been researching stories on Reddit, and we're going to find out. We're going to tell you if we think that these people have been or not. So we're going to read a story to you, and we're going to tell you if we think what you think is hilarious. We'll give you our verdict. Have a cup of coffee. Buckle up.
Let's see. Let's chat about it. Let's do it. All right. Am I the a-hole for not splitting the proceeds of the sale of our parents' house? That's an interesting title going in. When my mom died back in 2018, she left me and my siblings a decent chunk of money and her house. My siblings wanted to sell the house and split the money. I wanted to keep the house. It's a unique property with a pretty big lot in the middle of the city. The house is a 4-bed, 3-bath. There is pretty awesome deck, and most importantly, it is not in an HOA. I had some sentimental attachment to it, but mostly I thought the house was a better for my situation home than a pile of cash. I asked them, her siblings, if I could buy them out. They were pretty excited about the idea. The house would stay in the family, and they still get their cash.
Okay, so far, everybody's
feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
about
no
it.
a-hole so far.
No.
Okay.
We got it appraised, hired an attorney, and went through with it. My portion of the inheritance and a chunk of my own savings were enough to cover their shares.
Okay.
As soon as it was done, me and my then fiance moved in. We saved a bunch of rent. The house was paid off, location was great, and we were really happy with the house. My brother burned through the cash in 2 years. He fancied himself an influencer.
Oh, okay.
He bought a Maserati for cash, went to expensive nightclubs, vacationed in exotic places. Good for him, but money is gone. My sister and her husband bought a really expensive boat. I guess that's better. They did it pretty often, and his nephews loved it. But what I understand is that their portion of the money is gone too.
Okay.
I got married and we had a son. We would host my siblings on holidays, and the Christmas before COVID, I started to notice it. They were making snide comments about how much the house must be worth now. Since 2018, we had an influx of people in my city. It's growing rapidly, and the price of the house essentially tripled. We've had a bunch of all-cash offers on the house when we were thinking of selling, but this year we decided to move. My wife was pregnant again, and we were going to relocate closer to her family. I talked to my boss, and he said that the place we were moving to had an office I could commute to on the days I work in the office. So we put the house on the market. It sold pretty quickly, and that's when the trouble started. Both of my siblings think that I owe it to them to split the profit I made because it's only fair. We were in the middle of the move and house hunting in the new place, so I didn't really have time to go on about this. Well, it's been months, and they have not stopped bothering about how I cheated them out of a portion of their inheritance, and I was being really selfish. They pointed out that the proceeds of my buying them out was pretty smooth. We didn't have any problems or hiccups. They did me a favor by not kicking up a fuss. Now they want to split the profit because it was their house too. This has become really toxic, and most of the family is on their side. My mom's sister says it would have broken her heart to see her kids fight like this, and I should split the money with my siblings. My dad's sister thinks I should buy them off so they shut up. Am I the a-hole for refusing to split the money? Very interesting. I mean, it's his house. He had already given them the market value split. So I would look at it like he had already done them a favor, and then they enjoyed the home. And yes, houses build equity. That's how it works.
Right. Like if they would have decided to sell the house and split the monies back then.
Right.
They would have had the money that they had back then. No, he is not the a-hole.
Yeah, I don't think he would be the a-hole either.
Agree. No, he is not the a-hole.
And a lot of the comments on here too, it's not the a-hole. The fact that they didn't understand that they could either invest or spend an inheritance the way that they spent their inheritance is not.
That seems
So
like very
OP's
logical to me. No,
Yeah.
like you don't just.
Sellers refused to negotiate, so we walked away. Made an offer for a $950,000 home that had sat on the market for 3 weeks,
Okay.
with many comps sitting for 2 to 3 months. We went to both open houses and there were near zero traffic, no offers. So we made an offer, $930K with $10,000 seller credits because the seller kept all the appliances. They countered and we landed at $940 with $10K credits. Inspections came back with some minor mold, minor pests in the crawl space, but 2 major repairs. Roof required $3,000 to $5,000 of repairs to certify for 2 to 3 years. And HVAC was near to end of life and had not been serviced in over a decade. We found out through this process that the owner had rented the home and it was basically an investment property. My wife and I loved the home, but seemed financially idiotic to sign up for replacement of a roof and HVAC within 2 to 5 years. This was close to our dream home, perfect schools, amazing setup, first of 15 homes my wife and I both loved. We came back and offered $10K more in seller credits and $10K off the sales price, essentially asking for them to cover half the roof and HVAC replacement required in the next few years.
Okay.
It did not go.
No.
The seller got angry, didn't counter, just asked to terminate. Our realtor said it was one of the angriest calls she had gotten, and the seller basically said that we're a-holes that couldn't afford the house. The seller listed the house the next day for $930K. Multiple comps dropped to $900 to $920, so the houses around them also dropped, but dropped more than they did. Now the house is off the market. Looks like they're listing it for rent. So OP, the original producer of this, says that this just seems like lunacy to me. Seller has basically backed themselves into replacing those expensive items on their full time. Secondly, why in the good F wouldn't you at least try a shot at a counter? Light at the end of the tunnel, we ended up looking at an $850,000 house that I nearly dismissed out of hand as it was 800 square feet smaller than the previous home. And turns out that this couple selling it had remodeled everything top dollar, planning to stay in the house for years. Perfect house for us, under contract as we speak. Inspections came back flawless. So it ended in a happy way.
Yeah, I would say a-hole, but
Which one? The seller?
the buyer who came back with that. I'm thinking with my agent hat on, I guess it depends on how long was the home on the market?
It said that it was on the market for 3 weeks.
And so was on the, and how many offers had been?
They had no offer.
So I mean that's, and then then the inspection comes back, and then I can see where the buyer was like,
yeah,
I'm done.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think any buyer going into something isn't going to want an HVAC if that's going to be failing you or the roof. Well, but the other part you have to remember is that investors look at things a lot different than when you're so it's hard to judge. I get both sides, that the investor is an investor. It's a rental property. He can rent it or he can keep it. It's not, there's no emotional money. Yes, there's no,
and again, it depends on the market, but
and it's saying in here that the houses around it were already dropping. Yeah. So I think the seller was already out thinking what they would get. And with the attitude that, well, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell.
And was
just
the agent, was the seller over asking already?
It looks like it based on just what they said. But again, sellers that are investors just don't look at it the same as it's all about the money. No. So I would say I see both sides, and it just stinks when stuff like that happens. But
it wasn't meant to be.
And that is one of the things Jen and I tell our buyers all of the time. It's like we're the perfect situation, the perfect one, and it always comes. Just like with this story, like they needed a second to find this better one that they had not even
It's not,
thought to look
if it's
at.
meant, you always find that the perfect house. I think they both needed to do what was right for their family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're each of their
Yeah,
situations.
yeah.
But at the end of it, it ended up bringing both of them to where they just needed to be. He
Yeah.
obviously needed to continue renting it as the seller, and
Yeah.
the buyer ended up finding
Finding
it
the
even
perfect
more.
house. Yeah.
All right, that was a good one.
Okay.
Last but not least.
Okay, here we go.
Am I the a-hole for selling the house my brother and his family live in? That one starts out kind of sounding crazy. All right. Short and simple, I think. A few years ago, my brother needed help. I let him move into one of my rental properties and did it all legal, lease agreement and everything. Because I was renting to him at a break-even point, we agreed that he was responsible for all the maintenance of the house and yard.
All right, nobody is an a-hole yet.
As soon as you see that, if anybody has ever had a rental, renters don't care like you do. So you have them take care of the yard. You better plan to still drive by every couple
But
weeks
even
and
if
make
it's your
sure
brother?
because they. Well, you would think, but do they?
I mean, it's your brother.
Well, let's find out.
It's your sibling.
Let's find out.
Okay.
I mean, my brother would, but not all brothers are as fabulous as our brothers. Okay, well, brother has 4 kids, and the hot water tank isn't enough for his family, and he wants a new one. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just he wants a bigger one. Okay. I told him to go ahead. He then proceeded to take the cost of the hot water tank and the installation of that out of that month's rent. The brother had to remind him of our agreement. He said he wasn't making improvements to my property for free. And I said that the old water heater tank was fine, and he made the decision to replace it. It was a big argument. I didn't want to fight, so I said that he was not allowed to make any further changes to the house without my explicit agreement. So he stopped doing maintenance as a protest. The house itself is not pretty, but it is solid. It is old, and the wiring in it was not meant for all the modern electronics that we have. He wanted to add a new breaker box and run more outlets, and I said, no thanks. I cannot afford that since I am not making any money on the house. He started getting sassy about it, and the rent started getting paid late.
Okay.
I tried to talk to him, but he said that he had to buy some stuff for the house and he was low on cash. So I sold the house.
Oh. So he sold the house.
He sold the house. Well, the house itself isn't great. It is an older part of the city, and the property itself is 1/4 of an acre. So every time a house sells in that neighborhood, it is snapped up by developers and turned into multifamily units. Or one guy built a McMansion on his land.
Okay.
I know a lot of developers, and I didn't even need to list the house to have it sold in less than a week.
Wow.
My brother found out when he was served with an eviction notice.
Ooh.
He called me to say, what the F?
Ooh.
So I told him that the house was causing me headaches and I had an opportunity to make some money, and I took it. He said I should have offered him a chance to buy it. I said that he was having trouble making rent. How was he going to qualify for a mortgage? He said I'm an a-hole and that he has the money. He was waiting to make me an offer. I asked him if he had money. Why was he late on his rent? He started bad-mouthing me to our entire family. A few of them took his side and tried to say I was being an a-hole, so I offered all of them a chance to clear his debt to me if they wanted to share their opinion. And none of them took me up on the offer. Nice job. My parents are on my side, and they said I shouldn't have rented to him in the first place. I feel bad for my sister-in-law and the kids, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life subsidizing his. Oh, it's so interesting because I don't think he was the a-hole. Well, I think definitely both sides of that one. You're financially taking a loss. You can only do it for so long. But probably should have had
Yeah,
an eviction
come
notice. I
on.
probably would have knocked on the door and said, hey, you guys,
Yeah.
I sold the house. Let's work through. I'm going to sell it. I can't do it. There probably could have been better
Yeah,
communication.
more communication, sit down and talk to your brother. It all boils down, all of these is the communication. People don't like having the hard conversations,
No.
which is what we find in our business is having the hard conversations. No, you'd rather send an eviction notice to your brother than
Yes.
actually having a hard conversation saying, hey, I'm selling the house. I'm losing money. I can't afford this. It's ruining our relationship. And I can't do it anymore.
No. And instead, no, their relationship is hard. And
Yeah.
then you end up bringing all the rest of the family members into it too.
Yeah.
And then they have to have an opinion. And that's just ugly. There's all kinds of different scenarios out in the world. And sometimes we need to just be thankful to communicate with your family.
I think that is the
And it's really hard too, because a lot of this.
And get a real estate agent. We can do all the communicating and all of the negotiating and all of the stuff, so you don't have to, like the family.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. We hope that you got a good insight into other people's situations. And at the end of the day, just know that things will work out the way that they're supposed to. And communication is key. Communicate with your family.
And nobody's really an a-hole. We all are just trying to live our best life.
Right. And just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope that you enjoyed. Yes. Don't forget to stay grounded.
Stay grateful.
And keep building that legacy. Bye.